Hello all, Bharhash here. Today, I would like to share with you a theory from my favorite fandom, The Legend of Zelda. I have grown up with Link and Zelda on their many adventures. I was born within the same year they were created, and I've beaten every game, some more than others. Hyrule and Zelda's many worlds have been like a second home for me, a place to escape reality when I'm tired of this one. For that, The Legend of Zelda will always hold a special place in my heart. I've watched many different theorists here on YouTube, and I'm excited to finally be able to share my own work on a theory with all of you. I hope to be able to make much more Legend of Zelda content in the future. But without further ado, I present to you how the Era of the Wilds games should not be part of the official timeline, because they are actually a retelling of the Zelda story. There are those who believe that the Zelda timeline is nonsense, an afterthought to a series of games only thought up to appease the fans. They tend to think that each game is just the same legend, only interpreted or retold at a different time period. Then there are those who hold the Zelda timeline in the highest esteem. I think that every game should have a place on it, and it all has to completely make sense. I'm somewhere in between. I enjoy the timeline, and for the most part, I agree with the placement of all the games. Some make a whole lot more sense than others, but on the whole, I tend to agree. One placement I completely agree with Nintendo on is the placement of the Era of Wilds games. That they are so far in the future that they have basically converged the timelines from each branch, eventually leading to the outcome of these games. In fact, I would go one step further and claim that these games are actually just a reimagining the whole timeline, condensed into two main games, and once Age of Imprisonment comes out, two side games. I think Nintendo is expecting their fan base to want a placement on the timeline, so they came up with the vague answer of them being so far in the future that it doesn't matter anymore. For the first part of this video, I would like to go over a few key points, characters, and events of Tears of the Kingdom and compare them to the story and events of Skyward Sword. To me, they sound very similar, and I'd like to discuss with you why I think so. During the second part of the video, I will be writing a summary of the Zelda timeline where I will plug the events from the Era of the Wilds into the official timeline, as a way of further showing and explaining my reasoning that if you separate Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and even Age of Calamity, they match perfectly, or at the very least, very closely, to their counterparts on the timeline. By this, I of course mean that are they the same story but told differently? To show you what I mean, I will have to change the names of some things and people, but I think I can do this without making it too confusing. So first, let me start at the beginning, the creation of Hyrule. The first Zonai were goddesses or advanced beings from the sky who, with their magic and knowledge, transformed the world as the current occupants knew it. They recreated it for the betterment of life to flourish. They also brought law and order, or advanced knowledge, and taught it to the ancient Hylian people. Their secret stones were the Golden Power, or Triforce. The three dragons, Denril, Farosh, and Naedra, were the three goddesses, Den, Faeror, and Nehru, respectively, who consumed their Triforce pieces, or secret stones, once they accomplished what they wanted to do. They then departed to another realm, or transcended into higher beings, so that they continue watching over the land for eternity. They left two other Zonai behind, Rauru and Minoru, to watch over the land, its people, and the rest of the Golden Power, or Secret Stones. Rauru marries a Hylian, Sonia. Sonia, with her time powers, is the old goddess Hylia before giving up her immortality. Rauru, with his light power, is the first spirit of the hero. Princess Zelda is the goddess Hylia returned as a mortal. Ganondorf, of course, represents demise, mortally wounds and kills Sonia, but not before she passes her wisdom down to Princess Zelda and creates the soul of the hero and the bloodline of the princess through her children with Rauru. After Ganondorf steals the Golden Power, or the Secret Stone, a war begins for the rule of the world. Eventually, Ganondorf is sealed from time by the first hero, Rauru, and his malice forever returns to the world, along with a bloodline princess and the soul of the hero, to fight it back, time and time again. Princess Zelda gathers the sages and, with their help, raises the ground into the sky in the hopes of protecting her people, hiding away the knowledge and secrets of the Golden Power. Princess Zelda travels through time or transcends into a higher being with the help of Minoru, the sage's spirit, who also transcends time by giving up her body and transferring her spirit into the Puripad to help out the princess in the future. Princess Zelda takes the Master Sword with her to the sky, effectively creating or fixing it and making it stronger for the future hero Link, who uses it to kill and put an end to the revived Demon King. Just the plot of Tears of the Kingdom already sounds like a retelling of the story of Skyward Sword. But wait, it gets better. Let me take all the major plot points of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and even Age of Calamity, and swap and plug them into some of the major events on the timeline. In the early stages of the races of the world, before spirits and demons were separated, the world was in chaos. The three Zonai goddesses descended upon the chaos and began a reshaping of the world, each of them taming a different facet of the realm. Din, with her powerful fiery spirit, evaporated the flooded material plane and reshaped the earth to make it more suitable for sustaining life. Farore, with her courageous determination, separated the spirits and demons to a different realm, making it safer for mortal beings to live. Lastly, Nehru, with her infinite wisdom, taught all the races to follow law and order so that they could continue to prosper. With their labors completed, the goddesses consumed their secret stones and transcended into dragons and departed for the heavens. A forbidden practice by the Zonai race, but a necessary one, so they could always keep watch over the lands and their people. But not before leaving behind the rest of the secret stones. 4 secret stones representing a small portion of the magic from their dying race, known as the Zonai. Because the power of the secret stones was so great, they entrusted the sacred relics to the 2 remaining members of their race, King Rauru and his sister Minoru, along with a new educated Hylian queen who married Rauru, Queen Sonia. They each also possessed their own secret stones to help govern the land and protect it, as well as the other stones, from those who would misuse their almighty power. Though only those who already had power would be able to use the stones, for they only amplified the powers of others. These stones, passed down by the Zonai goddesses, were guarded by Queen Sonia and King Rauru, the rulers and protectors of the land. The king and queen took in and trained a time traveler from the future who possessed a secret stone as well, a Hylian woman named Princess Zelda. Zelda possessed the same powers as both the king and the queen, though her stone only amplified her time power, the same power as the queen. Under Queen Sonia's tutelage, Zelda learned to control and master her time manipulation powers, and became known as the Sage of Time. King Rauru and Queen Sonia had brought together most of the races of Hyrule, who all promised their support for the kingdom, all except the Gerudo. Their king, Ganondorf, was a well-known, power-hungry person, unhappy with the rule of the Zonai king. He felt that the world should be how it once was, before the taming of the land, where you had to fight for everything, especially power and the right to rule. He gathers his forces and, with a show of power, tests the king's resolve, who dispatches the Moldoga army with ease. Upon noticing the power of the secret stones, Ganondorf comes up with a plan to steal one for himself. Pretending to bend the knee to King Rauru, He enters the king's chambers and proceeds to vaguely threaten the king with veiled insults, all the while swearing his loyalty to him. Princess Zelda, getting bad vibes from Ganondorf's show of fealty, begs the king to take him more seriously as a threat, but Rauru dismisses her warning, claiming he knows the kind of man Ganondorf is and will keep him close to keep an eye on him. One evening, the evil King Ganondorf sent one of his puppets, who took the shape of Zelda, to try and assassinate the queen by getting her alone. She appeared before the queen and, using its disguise as the princess, tried to catch her off guard. However, both Sonia and Zelda had seen through this plan, and Zelda, hidden behind a pillar, used her time powers to stop the dagger right before it struck the queen. Although Zelda's powers and wisdom were great, the Gerudo King was more cunning and, using his puppet Zelda as a distraction, had snuck up behind them and struck down Queen Sonia, stealing her secret stone for himself, thus amplifying his dark powers and transforming him into the powerful Demon King. Using the wisdom passed down to her from Queen Sonia, she helped the courageous King Rauru gather champions from the other races. He gave each of them a secret stone to amplify their already incredible powers. With their sage abilities strengthened, they could now stand a chance against the Demon King Ganondorf. Upon the final battle, the sages, the princess, and the Hero King met Ganondorf on the battlefield. Although they fought bravely, they soon realized they were still no match for the Demon King's dark powers. Until using the power and techniques passed down to her from Sonia, Zelda was able to distract Ganondorf long enough for Rauru to sacrifice himself. Using his light powers, he sealed himself and Ganondorf exactly where they stood, while time passed around them. With Ganondorf's last breath, he was able to make one last threat. Thousands of years would pass in the blink of an eye, and he would reawaken the future and destroy their last hope, Link. Princess Zelda, through her time powers, received the broken and powerless Master Sword from Link in the future. She hatched a plan. She finally knew how she could help Link completely defeat this great evil. She met with most of the sages and had them promise to have their ancestors help fight the evil, using their secret stones, when Ganondorf returned. Then, gathering any remaining information and items that could be of use to her future hero onto a piece of Earth, she sent it skyward beyond the clouds. Princess Zelda then met with the sage's spirit, Minoru. She informed Minoru of her plan on consuming her secret stone and transcending into a sacred dragon, taking the Master Sword to the sky over the centuries, completely remaking it with her sacred energy. Minoru begged the princess not to go through with this forbidden practice, for it comes with a great price. She would no longer have the mind and heart of the person she is and will remember nothing of herself. The princess, knowing this to be the best way to help her champion and her people, convinced Minoru. She consumes her secret stone, and while grabbing and holding the Master Sword close to her chest, she yells out one final wish of her heart. She asks the future Link to protect them all, before transforming into the Light Dragon and taking off towards the heavens, the Master Sword now resting on her forehead. The Sage's spirit, inspired by Zelda's sacrifice, decides to shed her mortal body as well, and hides her spirit away in the Pura Pad to be given to Link in the future, so she too can help stop the great evil that is the Demon King. During the centuries that passed, a new castle was erected above where Rauru was holding Ganondorf as a safeguard to stop anyone from finding and releasing him. But the King of Evil was so powerful that even though the memory of him was eventually forgotten, he couldn't completely be sealed away, and his malice kept returning every 10,000 years or so to try and destroy the world and return it to the way it was before the Zonai goddesses recreated it. During these times, a bloodline princess and a soul of a hero were reincarnated, and with the help of the promise of the ancient sages made to Zelda, the evil Calamity was delayed time and time again. After centuries of Ganondorf's malice returning and the land of Hyrule fighting it back, at the cost of many lives and lands being destroyed, the many races of Hyrule had finally learned to work together. The Hyrulean royal family had long been training the bloodline princess in the way of the sealing powers at a young age. They also had their military find and train the soul of the hero, and appointed him to be the champion of the princess. Working with the other races, together the ancient hero and princess traveled the land, revisiting the other races and upholding their ancient sage's promise to Zelda long ago. They would appoint a champion of their race to protect the princess and fight any evil that arose within the realm. The Hylian royal family also worked very closely with the Sheikah tribe, a technologically advanced civilization, to build machines called Guardians to fight the Calamity once he showed up again. They also built one huge Guardian for each race's champion to pilot, called Divine Beasts, which would be housed with and protect the lands of those races, with their princess being one of the most prepared and skilled at using the sealing power, and her champion seemingly being otherworldly, as if blessed by the old gods themselves, wielding the blade of evil's bane. With the help of the champions of each race piloting a divine beast, and the army of guardians at their disposal, when Calamity Ganon next showed himself, he was quickly and easily defeated. Never in the history of Hyrule had Ganon's malice been beaten so thoroughly, and with hardly any sacrifices having to be made. It seemed the world no longer needed to fear Calamity Ganon. After the Great Calamity of 10,000 years ago, the kings of Hyrule began to fear the technological powers of the Sheikah, and they came to be viewed as a threat to the kingdom, and thus put them at odds with the king. The king of that time ordered all the guardians and divine beasts buried and hidden away. Then he exiled the Sheikah. Some of them decided to cast off their technological advances and strove to live normal lives, while others fostered a hatred towards the kingdom that shunned them and swore allegiance to Calamity Ganon. The latter Sheikah band together and formed a militant group. Just over 100 years ago, this group formally became the Yiga clan when the return of Calamity Ganon was inevitable. Their sole mission being to eliminate all who stand against Ganon. Princess Zelda is born, as is her champion Link. Link is discovered to be the hero of legend at a young age and pulls the Master Sword younger than most of its previous heroes. Zelda, however, loses her mother as a child, and with no one to train her in unlocking her sealing powers, she is left alone in trying to figure it out. The frustrated Zelda starts to doubt her role in everything and, seeing the importance of the newly rediscovered Guardians and Divine Beast, wishes to help as a scholar and help with the revitalizing of old Sheikah technology. Her father, King Roam, forbids her to do so, claiming the kingdom is starting to see her as a failure, and all of her time and energy must be spent trying to unlock her sacred powers. Angry and frustrated, Zelda and her newly appointed champion Link began traveling around the kingdom and visiting the other champions. All the while, she takes her frustrations out on her knight. Seeing his success come so easily to him reinforces her feelings of inadequacy, further validating her feelings.
And stop following me.
She soon warms up to Link as he continually shows his loyalty and bravery, and after he saves her from a Yiga clan attack that would have killed her, love starts to grow where hate once filled her heart. Link and Zelda continue to grow closer, but her sealing powers remain locked deep within. On her 17th birthday, she is allowed to visit the sacred spring, the Spring of Wisdom, where she hopes her sealing powers will finally manifest. Sadly, they do not. Returning down the mountain with nothing but bad news, she goes to inform the other champions of her failing, when Calamity Ganon finally decides to strike. with each champion heading back to their respective divine beasts to help Link in the upcoming fight. They soon learned that Calamity Ganon had learned from his previous loss. Somehow, he had learned to take control of the old Guardians. Ganon, now supplied with a new and powerful army, kills each of the champions and takes control of their divine beasts. He quickly overruns the land of Hyrule, killing thousands and destroying much of the kingdom. Link, being the powerful and courageous hero he is, protects Zelda and fights to his last breath. But as he starts to finally falter, his strength starting to drain, a Ganon-controlled Guardian suddenly shows itself and starts to power up its laser. But just as it's about to fire, Zelda feels something stirring within her and steps in front of her knight. She holds up her hand at the Guardian, finally unlocking her sealing power. The golden power starts to radiate from her. The 3 golden triangles appear from the back of her hand as she sends out a shockwave of power, destroying all the Guardians within a great area of effect. Princess Zelda, in shock at what she's done, notices her champion on the ground, rushes over, and kneels next to him. She is dismayed to see that he is barely holding on to life. She notices the Master Sword glowing faintly and can hear a distant voice coming from it. It tells her that Link can be saved if he's taken and placed to the Shrine of Resurrection. The clever princess comes up with a quick plan and orders her guards to take Link to the shrine, while she takes the sealing sword to the Great Deku Tree to recover, just as her champion does. Then, steeling herself, she makes her way to Hyrule Castle, using her newly unlocked power to temporarily seal Ganon and herself away to protect everyone, until Link and the Master Sword are fully healed and ready to destroy Ganon's malice. Around the same time Princess Zelda's sealing powers awaken, a small guardian emerged from a box in Hyrule Castle. It sees the destruction caused by Calamity Ganon and hears Zelda's desperation to protect everyone. It opens up a gate of time to travel back before the Great Calamity. Just before it jumps into the gate, a guardian attacks it, but the smaller guardian manages to make it to the gate unscathed. Unknown to it, a part of Calamity Ganon's malice also made its way through the Gate of Time, following the small guardian. During this timeline, Zelda, Link, and the other champions learn of what is about to happen in their world. With this huge advantage, they learn when Ganon awakens and how he wins so suddenly by taking control of all the Guardians and Divine Beasts. Zelda is also able to unlock her sealing powers sooner, and makes a plan to stop Ganon from destroying the kingdom. They can save everyone from the horrible outcome of the previous timeline by completely putting a stop to Calamity Ganon's plans. "100 years after Zelda seals herself and Ganon away, Link awakens within the Shrine of Resurrection, fully healed physically, but mentally, he is unable to remember anything about his past. With the help of the King's Spirit and the guiding voice of Zelda, Link makes the rounds he and Zelda once did, regaining a majority of his memories, finding the new champions, and releasing the spirits of the old ones, so that they can once again use the Divine Beasts to help Link destroy Ganon. Link comes across the Master Sword, fully healed from its slumber in the forest. and makes his way to the castle to save the princess and destroy the calamity that has now been using its malice to terrorize the land for the past 100 years. With the help of the champions, the divine beasts, and Princess Zelda, Link can completely destroy Calamity Ganon and bring back peace to Hyrule. Princess and Knight finally reunited, they begin to once again make their rounds through the kingdom, hoping to restore the lands to the way they used to be, or perhaps even beyond. Link and Zelda spend the next few years helping the land of Hyrule rebuild and recover. But too soon, another blight seems to start and befoul the land of Hyrule. The princess and her champion go to explore a secret passage hidden beneath Hyrule Castle. Although her father had once warned her in the past that not even the royal family was to go down there, she believed that what lay beneath was connected to the strange phenomena now spreading through Hyrule, referred to as gloom. As they traveled, they found ancient ruins that Zelda identified as being of Zonai origin. They eventually found a mural depicting a great war against a being referred to as the Demon King, the stories of which had been passed down by the royal family. Another mural showed the Zonai descending towards Hyrule, which caused Zelda to realize that the gods who once descended from the heavens to found the royal family must have been the Zonai. In the deepest chamber, Link and Zelda found a mummified Ganon emanating gloom, bound by a disembodied arm. As they entered, the arm fell from the mummified corpse and dropped a tear-shaped gem. As Zelda picked it up, Ganondorf came to life and struck with a surge of gloom. Link blocked the attack with the Master Sword, but Ganondorf's dark power decayed the blade, as it had done the blades of the kingdom. It also sapped Link's strength and left his right arm blackened and weakened. Ganondorf then revealed that he knew Link and Zelda and mocked Link's inability to harm him, mentioning that someone called Ralru had placed his trust in the hero. Ganondorf then sent a surge of gloom that caused Hyrule Castle to rise into the sky before falling deep underground. Zelda falls into the chasm after Ganondorf, and Link jumps down after to grab her. He just misses her outstretched hand, but as an unknown being starts to pull him upwards, he notices that Zelda's hand pulses in a golden light that envelops her whole body, and then they both disappear. Link begins another journey around Hyrule, this time to find the champions and awaken them as sages, so that they can fulfill the promise the old sages once made long ago to Princess Zelda, to use their secret stones and help Link rid the land of the Demon King once and for all. Along the way, Link learned of what Zelda did in the past and how she transformed into a light dragon to heal and remake the Master Sword. He makes his way to the former princess and, after a small struggle, pulls free the now powered-up Master Sword from her forehead. Making sure that Zelda's sacrifice was not in vain, he heads back to the place he and Zelda found Ganondorf, with the newly awakened sages in tow, and proceeds to finally put an end to the battle Zelda started and had prepared him for ages ago, the demise of the Demon King. Though this battle is by far the hardest he has ever fought, with the help of the sages and the remade Master Sword, Link prevails over Ganondorf. The King of Evil is not willing to give up or admit defeat, and with his last remaining willpower, He rips the secret stone from his forehead, and as Zelda once did, he consumes it. This causes the Demon King to transform into a massive black dragon of darkness called the Demon Dragon. The Dark Dragon drags Link with him into the sky, where a now draconified Princess Zelda notices and awakens an old spark within her. She instinctively knows she must help Link fight and destroy this new monstrosity at all costs. Together, the hero of legend and the draconified princess of old fight the draconified Demon King. Link must destroy the malice eyes that have erupted along the Demon Dragon's body. Each time he's knocked off, the Light Dragon catches him and flies him back to the Dark Dragon until a weakness is finally revealed. The Demon Dragon's secret stone appears on its forehead, and Link, jumping from the Light Dragon's back one last time, leaps upon the Demon Dragon's head and raises the Master Sword high in the air, bringing it down and smashing through the secret stone and into the skull of the Dark Dragon. After delivering the final strike, Link jumps from the Demon Dragon, and once again, the draconified princess plucks him from the air. As they fly away, they watch the Demon Dragon explode, leaving nothing behind, and finally ending the evil that had been plaguing the land for so long. Suddenly, both the Light Dragon and Link are transported high into the sky, almost looking like a different realm. With the Light Dragon and Link suspended in the air, two familiar spirits appear, King Rauru and Queen Sonia. Focusing their power through Link, he raises his hand towards the Light Dragon, and miraculously, it starts to shrink down and transform back into Princess Zelda. Rauru and Sonia, with a smile, disappear as Link and Zelda start to fall from the sky. Zelda does not seem to be conscious, so Link, remembering how he once failed to save a falling princess, is determined not to fail again. He straightens to fall faster, catching up with Zelda. He grabs her outstretched hand and hugs her close to his chest as they make a splash landing into a lake. Link pulls Zelda to shore as she finally awakens. She's very happy to see Link, and knows in her heart that he just saved her and her kingdom.
He's gone. The Demon King. I'm not in a dream, right? You did it. Oh, Link, you really did it. But how am I?
Princess Zelda, unable to remember much of her time as the Light Dragon, once again sets off with her loyal champion to continue the restoration of Hyrule Kingdom. As I said in the beginning of this video, I love the Legend of Zelda series, but more than that, I love the era of the Wilds. I know a lot of hardcore Zelda fans don't like them, or that they're low on their list because they don't seem to fit on the timeline, or because Tears of the Kingdom ruins a lot of theories people came up with over the past few years. But to me, these have some of the best storytelling and characters in any Zelda game. I especially love the amount of attention and focus Zelda gets in these games. I love the voice acting and the relationship between Princess, Hero, and the champions. Of course, these are my own thoughts and opinions, and everyone is entitled to their own. I just wanted to share my love and passion for what I consider one of the best game series ever created. I would love to hear what you all thought of this theory, and what your favorite Zelda game is and why down below. Thank you all for listening, and if you enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It really does help my channel to grow. And if you would like to hear more from me, please also consider subscribing to my channel, which would also be a big help to me as well. I'm hoping to do more videos like this and about other fandoms that I enjoy. Thanks again.